Hi guys, this is Stormouse03, and this is my guide for getting all of the medals on Resident Evil Revelations 2, Episode 3. So we're going to start with Claire's episode here, and the medals for this part are knock down an enemy 5 times by blinding them with the light, then hitting them with a physical attack, escape the factory with only 1 minute left, which actually means more than 1 minute left. That's a bad translation on that one. So that's something to note. The rest of them are stun 20 enemies with Moira's light, defeat 10 enemies with sub-weapons, defeat 3 enemies using the stealth attack, defeat 10 enemies with a headshot, create 5 sub-weapons by combining items, create 5 recovery items by combining items, open 4 military boxes, and find 7 items with Moira. So let's get right into it, guys. There are several of these that are the same as previous episodes that you should know how to do right now. For example, finding 7 hidden items with Moira, shine the flashlight on it, pick it up. Do that 7 times, that's done. There's also stun 20 enemies with the flashlight, which you should know how to do by this point. Shine it in their face, they get stunned, repeat 20 times. There's also stun them and then knock them down with a physical attack 5 times, shine the light into their face until they get stunned, then switch to Claire, knock them down with a physical attack. You should be an old hat at these by now, so no worries there. Then there is defeat 10 enemies by killing them with a headshot. Again, you should be pretty practiced at this by now, and you shouldn't have any trouble finding enemies to kill in this fashion. Okay, so on to a couple more specific ones that you haven't seen before. Combining items to create 5 sub-weapons, and combining items to create 5 recovery items. Throughout this episode and through previous episodes, you will have found items like empty bottles, alcohol, cloth, gunpowder, odorous chemicals, green and red herbs. All of these things you can use to combine to make these different things. You don't have to collect all of the items within this level. You can collect them and carry them through from previous playthroughs from either earlier episodes, or if you play through this episode multiple times and just save up a few things, you can then create the items that you need. So you just want to create some combination of bottles for your sub-weapons, so that's exploding, fire, and or decoy. Make 5 of those and you will get that medal. And then you want to make 5 recovery items, which are the tourniquet, the disinfectant, and the combining a red and a green herb to create 3 green herbs. So some combination of those that add up to 5 will get you your medal for that. Okay, so on to the military boxes. The first is in the area where the Prometheus statue is, that's outside both of the 2 main buildings. Or at the beginning, it's just to the left of the door that you can't open yet. And that's 1 down. The second is upstairs in the first building that you'll enter, in one of the chemistry lab rooms. I guess they're chemistry labs. 2nd floor in one of the rooms. That is your second one. You'll find a 3rd military box in the area in the 2nd building, where you'll find all these butchered pigs hanging up, and there's the big guy that shoots fire at you that you need to kill. Or not kill, but you'd probably be hard-pressed to open this box without him dead. So that is a 3rd military crate for you. In that same building where you have the switch that you have to pull to make the meat that's hanging up go across so you can put it in the grinder, there is another military crate over to the side that will be another one for you. You only need 4 of these military crates, but just in case you missed them, here are a couple more. When you are in the sewer section, near the beginning of the sewer, there is a ledge that you can jump up onto, and there will be another military crate for you right up on that ledge. So that's a 5th. And also kind of near the beginning of the sewer area, there is a ledge that you can boost Moira up to, and there will be another military crate up there. So again, you don't need to get all of these. It's good to get them because they give you good items and whatnot, but you only need 4 of them for the medal, so you have some to choose from. So let's talk about escaping from the factory with more than 1 minute left on the clock. So they give you 5 minutes to get through here, and that is a more than generous amount of time. As long as you know what you're doing and where you're going, this shouldn't be too much of a problem for you. You are switching between the characters here because they're split up and they have to turn valves and things to make sure that, you know, one can continue and you switch off. I am going to show you my run through this just so that you get an idea of where you need to go and what you need to do and the pacing and that sort of thing. Basically, at the beginning, you get split up and you switch between Moira and Claire to turn these cranks to be able to progress. You can dodge past the iron head with Moira and just run straight for the box, pick it up, put it down in front of the ladder, and try to keep moving. If he catches up to you and knocks you down once or twice, that's okay. You should still be fine. And then for the final little puzzle sequence, you just want to quickly try to look around the different heads and see which one does not have one of the mechanisms behind it, and that will be the one that you want to pull to open the door and escape and not, you know, get impaled on a bunch of spikes at that. So that should be that medal done. Let's move on to 3 stealth kills. So there aren't a lot of opportunities to sneak up on enemies in this level. And so what I found I needed to do was kill a couple of enemies by using different means than I really had in previous episodes. So if you can lure some zombies up to the upper level, there are a couple of these fire hydrants, and if you shoot the fire hydrant, that will create a bunch of smoke in the air, and when there's smoke in the air, you can get behind a zombie and do a stealth kill. And so that is a really good way to get a couple of stealth kills here at the beginning. You saw that I am luring some zombies to where I want them to be, and then get behind them and take them out with a stealth kill. You could probably manage to get more than one of them at a time, but I was just being safe with it. And since it's only 3 that you need to do, and there are a couple of opportunities to get some regular stealth kills later on in the level, I was just, you know, padding my numbers here so that I wouldn't have to worry too much about those. I would say there's 2 opportunities for stealth kills in the second building that I'm going to show you now that I was able to get consistently. The first guy in the second building is, once you kill the guy with the red pus on his head in this first room, you want to sneak over to the second room and watch this other pus head guy and make sure that he is kind of just out of sight before you go through the door, and then you are able to sneak up on him and get a stealth kill. This guy I was able to sneak up on very consistently, so as long as you are sneaking and he doesn't see you through the window, you should be good. The second enemy that I was able to reliably stealth kill in this episode is this iron head that drops down. As you are trying to escape, he will drop down from the ceiling. Just make sure that you're sneaking. Make sure you've killed all of the enemies from the room prior to this, and so that nobody's coming up behind you. But if you just wait, after he drops down, he will turn around, and after he turns around, you are free to sneak up behind him and grab another stealth kill. So the 2 kills at the beginning using the fire hydrant smoke, and these stealth kills add up to 4, so you're able to, you know, miss one if you happen to mess one up. And so now on to 10 kills with sub-weapons. So I'm just going to show you a couple of spots where I was able to get several kills at once with sub-weapons. One of them is after you pick up the key from this first building. There will be a bunch of enemies that attack you, especially if you haven't gone into the rooms and killed them. They will run at you, and you can kind of dodge around them and try to get them all clustered up to get probably a good 3 or 4 kills with a bottle in this one particular area. So that is one good spot. Another pretty good spot is right after that section. When you go downstairs, there will be 2 enemies that spawn in this room to the right of the entrance, and there's always 2 of them there, and it's not too hard to get them both clustered together, so you can get them both with one sub-weapon. It's only 2 kills, but anytime you can get more than one is not too bad of a spot. Another decent spot is in the room where you are using the meat grinder. After doing that a couple of times, several enemies will spawn, and you can get them clustered up and take them out with a bottle. Just make sure they're on the walkway and not in the blood pool, or else your bottles will not work. Right before you escape the slaughterhouse, there is another opportunity to cluster a couple of these enemies up and grab another 2 or 3 kills with a sub-weapon. There are also several good spots to get some sub-weapon kills in the sewer area. I'm just going to show you a couple of spots where I was able to cluster 2, 3, 4 of them together. Sometimes it might take a little bit of work to get them clustered together the way that you want. They like to grab you, your partner likes to try to kill them, etc. But with a little bit of patience, you should be able to find enough guys in this level, and you can always save up sub-weapons from previous runs just to make sure that you have enough. So those are all of the medals from Claire's episode. We're going to move on to Barry Burton. And so the medals for Barry's half of this episode are: defeat 3 Revenant by only hitting their weak spots, clear the episode without destroying any of the Dhuriga tentacles, hit enemies with Natalya's brick 15 times, defeat 3 enemies with a follow-up attack, defeat 10 enemies with sub-weapons, defeat 4 enemies using the stealth attack, defeat 10 enemies with the knife, open 3 gimmick boxes, find 5 hidden items with Natalya, and clear the sewage treatment plant with Natalya taking no damage. So similarly to Claire's episode, a lot of these medals are the same as medals that you've done on previous episodes, so they should seem pretty familiar to you. I'm going to talk for a second about some strategies for keeping Natalya from being damaged. One of the most useful things I found was the command function, so you can make her wait so that she will stay out of harm's way. So that's holding down Y and pressing down on the D-pad tells her to wait, and then if you hold down Y and press up on the D-pad, that tells her to go ahead and follow you. So that is really useful because you can just sort of stick her back at a point where she's not going to be in any danger of running in and accidentally getting hit or grabbed. Or she can't get grabbed, but she can get hit. So I think that is probably the most useful tip that I had. And that way you can just move forward with Barry, clear out everything. Particularly in this room, there are a lot of enemies and there are a lot of those little spiders. And so the spiders can be annoying because sometimes you can't tell how many there are. There seem to be about 1,000 of them. And so you just want to make sure that you've cleared out all these enemies before she moves down into this area. A good tip on your knife kills is that it appears that sometimes the knife kills on the spiders don't count for whatever reason. And so if you hold down your right trigger, you will just do a continuous slash with it. If you hold it down instead of, tapping it, it won't trigger any of the follow-up attacks, and it won't trigger any of the ground attacks. And so since the knife kills are just supposed to be straight up knife kills, that's kind of what you want to do. You don't want to do any follow-up attacks when you're trying to do the knife kills, and you don't want to do any of the ground finishers when you're trying to do the knife kills. And so just holding down right trigger will help you to be able to make sure that you are getting knife only kills. So there are a bunch of enemies in this first area, and they're pretty good to do the knife kills on. And again, there are a bunch of spiders, and you'd think that they would work, but it seems like sometimes it's just finicky. And so I would recommend just knifing. Go through and knife everything that you can. And that should get you that medal. After you're done killing all of the enemies in this area, you can take control of Natalya again, come up under this little section here and get your first gimmick box. Now, something to note on this one is that you needed to go over and turn the crank here to open this gate in Moira and Claire's episode, or else you won't be able to access this gimmick box. So make sure that you do that in their episode, and you will be able to get your first gimmick box opened. Also, if you open the other grate with Moira and Claire in this area, you can pick up the AK-47. And so that's pretty cool. And right after that, you want to just be careful with Natalya right here, because there are a couple of spiders that come through this little section. And so you want to make sure that you kill them before you move forward with her, so that she doesn't accidentally take damage from those little annoying buggers. As you move forward through the sewage treatment plant, you're going to be split up. Now, there's not a lot of zombies that can really hurt Natalya here, but you just want to keep cautious. Make sure that whenever you do see one, you want to back her away from it pretty far, and then use Barry to quickly take the zombie out. There are going to be a bunch of these fire explosive barrels, and so you can use those to blow the zombies up as well. I got very close to getting hit just then, which was no good. So you don't ever want to put yourself in that position. If a zombie gets up, you want to get away from it. And so in any case, learn from my near mistake. There's another gimmick box up here just past that zombie that just got up. And so you want to make sure that both of your characters are safe, so just be careful with that. You don't want Barry to be getting in trouble while you're opening this box. But there is your second gimmick box of this level right up here. Again, make sure that you have killed the zombie that will wake up as you go for it. But then after that, you are free to unlock it. Again, you can use the explosive canisters to blow up some zombies on the upper section. Just make sure that you back up far enough away with Natalya that you don't get caught in the blast. In the final area, I would recommend carrying a brick, tossing it down that ladder. so that you can have a couple extra bricks in this area here. And then I just use a brick to the face to take out both of these zombies. You want to trigger one to stand up and then throw it in its face. If you have it fully upgraded, that should kill the zombie in one hit. If you don't have it fully upgraded, just keep repeating that, or you could use a ground finisher once it falls to the ground if you've unlocked that ability. So you can take out those two by yourself, and you don't even have to worry about switching to Barry, although you could switch to Barry to shoot those guys in the face. Something that I would recommend that you do is to take care of the enemies in this area with Barry without opening the gate, so that you don't even put Natalya in a position where she could potentially get hurt. If you keep her behind that gate there, once those two zombies are taken out, then you don't have to worry about her getting hit for the rest of this section, really. So just sort of go and trigger all the enemies to spawn. There are going to be a few zombies that get up, and then there's going to be a couple of glasps as well. You can use the fire hydrants to be able to see the glasps and make sure that you take them out, so you don't have to have her to spot where they are. You can use the smoke from the fire hydrants, or you can just kind of estimate where you think that they might be based on the fact that they need to take a certain path to be able to get to you. So, and Natalya will give you directions as well, so if you shoot somewhere, she'll go, oh no, to the right, no, left. And so you can listen to that to kind of gauge where they are as well. After you turn the crank and open the gate, there's going to be one more glasp that appears kind of in the area where Barry was coming from. And so, since there should only be the one and everything else is taken out, you are still pretty safe. So just make sure that you point out where it is with Natalya, kind of see where you need to be aiming, and take that last guy out. And then this zombie right here will get up because he didn't before. Who knows, why not? But you take care of him. And then there's going to be a third gimmick box right here in this room that you can go ahead and pick up. And those should be all of the gimmick boxes that you have to have for the medal. There are a couple more on this level, but those are all that you need. I'll point out a few more as we go along, but that should be number 3. The last enemy that you need to worry about in the sewage treatment plant is a glasp. As you can see, a fully upgraded brick can kill it in one hit. If you don't have a fully upgraded brick, or don't manage to kill it in one hit with the brick, you can always just point it out and shoot it with Barry. Totally fine. You just want to be aware of that, because you don't want that guy to mess you up right at the end. If you go up this ladder, there's going to be another gimmick box. That should be the 4th. Again, you only need 3, but there's this one in case you miss one. So that should be the not getting damaged in the sewage treatment plant done. And now we're going to move on to an area with revenants, so we can work on killing 3 of them by hitting their weak spots. And so again, you've done this in previous episodes, but basically use Natalya to find which limb their weak spot is on, and then kill them by shooting them only in that limb. Do that 3 times, and that is your medal. These revenants are also really good enemies to get your 4 kills with a stealth attack on, and so I'm just going to show you how you can do that. I believe you can stealth kill all of the revenants on this level, aside from the one that is in the elevator that stands up when you try to get on the elevator. I don't believe you can stealth kill him, but I'm pretty sure you can stealth kill all of the other ones because I've done it. So I'm just gonna show you real quick, cut to each one of them and kind of show you how I did that, and so that will hopefully help you guys get some stealth kills out of these revenants. You don't have to do it on all of them. There are more than 4 of them on this level, So you can get all 4 stealth kills here, and then you probably will have enough to also get the 3 weak spot kills as well. Because there are also a couple more Revenants that appear during the second Dhuriga attack that you won't be able to stealth kill them, but you can kill them using the weak spot kills. So you should be able to get both of those in one run. You can also use the steam from the, or smoke from the fire hydrants that you blow up earlier in the level in the sewage treatment plant. So you can use that to create some smoke to be able to get some stealth kills in those sections. If you had some smoke bottles, you could also use those to create smoke to be able to get some more stealth kills. So there are some options for you, but I think these Revenants are perfectly fine enemies to stealth kill, and so that would be my choice, because you don't have to really use any resources to be able to kill these guys. You don't have to shoot the hydrants, and you don't have to use any bottles. But any of those methods are good for getting your 4 stealth kills. Alright, so a quick roundup of some of the rest of the medals. I'm going to show you a couple of good spots for some sub-weapon kills. There are 3 in that corridor right near the beginning. And then this first room has... It's not the first room, but it's one of the first rooms. It's the first big room. It has a ton of enemies in it, and you can sort of get them herded together. This includes both zombies and spiders that you can get herded together and get a ton of sub-weapon kills off of just a couple of bottles. There's also the areas when you're separated, where you move between a couple of the sluices. There will be a bunch of enemies here as well that you can herd up and get a bunch of sub-weapon kills. So really that one shouldn't be too hard to take care of. Just make sure that you get a bunch of them grouped together. In the first area at the beginning, there's also a bunch of bricks around, and you can use those for your 15 brick hits with Natalya. I also wanted to show you the follow-up attacks. Again, when you stun an enemy, you can do his physical follow-up attack. Once you get him stunned, he does this little lunge thing, and you want to make sure that you do that 3 times. And that's that medal done. Okay, so last but not least, there is the medal for clearing the episode without destroying any of the Dhuriga tentacles. And so I have no idea whether I'm pronouncing that right. Dhuriga, whatever it is a bastard. So I actually tried to get around him and sort of shoot him in the back, but I found that to be finicky and time consuming. And so the way that I ended up doing this was kind of a little bit more dangerous, because you're going to get hit a few times probably. But if you can lure this guy into looking at you, if you can lure him into attacking, usually his attacks will involve moving that big tentacle, claw tentacle thing in front of him, and that will expose his weak spot in the middle for a second, and you can get in some hits on it. And I found that to be much faster and more effective than trying to skirt around behind him, because he's too squirmy. And so you can try to lure him with Natalya and like get around behind him with Barry, but I didn't have a whole lot of success with that. So if you're having trouble with that, if you're not having a lot of success with that, you can do what I did, which was to try to lure him into attacking you, and then as he, raises his little tentacle up and exposes his belly, you can shoot him. You can use really whatever weapon you like there. Probably you want to use a single shot weapon, because using the assault rifle or something might have a little too much spread on it, and you might accidentally catch one of the tentacles on the side. So just be aware of that and try to use something that's pretty accurate, and take a good look at him at the beginning and notice where his tentacles are. I believe there's like 2 tentacles on one side and 3 tentacles on the other side. And so you just want to make sure that as you continue to watch him, that none of those have gone away. In this second encounter with him, you want to kind of ignore him to begin with and run around and kill the other revenants that have spawned, because you don't want to be dealing with especially this jerk who keeps tossing stuff at you. So you want to run around and kill those guys first, and then you can focus on killing the big guy, the Dhuriga, however you pronounce this really hideous, disgusting thing's name. And so I did exactly what I did before on the first fight. I kind of lure it into attacking, exposing its stomach, and then getting a shot or 2 into it while it's, preparing for an attack. I have the upgrade on the gun, damage +4 or something, or damage 4, damage upgrade 4, whatever it is. I have that in my pistol, and so it's doing a fair bit of damage. I believe I also have the upgrade on it, the part in it that helps you stun enemies more often, and so that helps too, because you'll find that with those things in, it's fairly often that when you shoot it in that weak spot, it'll get stunned and sort of stagger back a little bit, and so that keeps you from getting hit too much. But again, this method, you probably will take some damage on it, so just be aware of that. It's hard to concentrate on shooting that spot and like looking to make sure that all the tentacles are there and trying to make sure that you're hitting it exactly in the weak spot, and then also can concentrate on dodging. So you'll probably take some hits, but if you do this on the difficulty that you should do it on, which is casual, it shouldn't be too bad, and you should have some healing items saved up, and you should be okay. So that should be all of the medals for you in this episode. So as I was recording this commentary, I realized that I hadn't covered the Find 5 Hidden Items with Natalya medal. So I don't think you guys really need to see an example of that, so I'm going to talk about it at the end of this little fight here. Basically, you just use Natalya, you see something shining, you point at it, it allows the item to be collected, and that is finding a hidden item. You do that 5 times, you got that medal. Should be simple, and you've done it before for a couple of the other episodes. So that should be all of your medals for Barry's episode, and once you do the medals for both Claire's and Barry's episodes, you should get your achievement or trophy called Sweet Golden Medal. So there you go, guys. Hope that it was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I will see you for the medals in episode 4.